What does manhood mean to you?
What does manhood mean to me? I think for a lot of us, manhood is shaped by your environment, especially how you're raised as a child.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of King Crush Thursday, the series where we highlight and uplift Black men, because frankly, not too many people are doing it. My name is Val Gay, and I'm super excited about this brother today. Let's see. He's an entrepreneur. He's a leader. He is civically engaged, sitting on a lot of boards, and he still finds time to travel and play golf. His name is Mr. Adé Lawal. Hi, Ade.
Hey Val, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great.
Excellent. I'm so glad that you are here, and thank you so much for being here, because this conversation puts another wedge in the door or the window of opening up the very myopic and narrowly based views of Black men in our society. And so, as we know that there are as many Black men on the planet, that's how many Black men there are, different kinds of Black men. And yet we find very few stereotypes, if you will, that are depicted in the media. And ultimately, we want young kings who may or may not have positive Black male role models to be able to come to this repository, see the same 6 questions answered by all these amazing Black men, and hopefully find guidance there. And then for the rest of us who are neither male or even Black, for us to be able to come to this repository and learn and hopefully have our minds expanded. So ultimately, we can change the narrative that is pervasive in our society. And so I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm going to get started with the first question, which is, what does manhood mean to you?
What does manhood mean to me? I think for a lot of us, manhood is shaped by your environment, especially how you're raised as a child. So when I think manhood, I think of being a provider and basically supporting your family, you know? So, I mean, I grew up in Nigeria, and fortunately I was lucky enough to have my father around, and I had 3 siblings, and there were 4 of us, which, my parents raised all of us. And, my dad's role was to be the provider. My mom worked as well, but it was pretty clear all along that, my dad was the one that we're counting on. If my mom decided not to work, it wasn't the end of the world, and I think a lot of families don't have that luxury. But in my case, it was pretty clear that my dad was the provider. And so manhood means to me basically taking care of your own, and being responsible, essentially, for the family that you have. And in some cases, extended family, that's common where I come from as well. My grandfather had passed away before I was born. And in my family, in our culture, the oldest child is responsible for raising your siblings if your parents pass away. So we actually had several uncles who lived with me while I was growing up. I shared a room with one of my uncles while he was in college. So that's another example of, that responsibility that you have as a man, not just to your own immediate, children or family, but sometimes to extended family.
Got it. Got it. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that. And so, Ade, who and or what is important to you?
Who and or what is important to me? Well, obviously, my family is important to me. I have a wife and a son who is 1. Yep. So that's obviously important to me. I have responsibility for raising the Black man. I guess a boy at this point. So, so that's a responsibility that I'll be carrying for as long as I live, hopefully. Um, and it's important for me to give back in my community. You know, for most of us, where we spend the most of our waking hours is at work. And for most of my working career, I've tried to find meaning in what I was doing, and entrepreneurship has allowed me to do that over the last 11 or 12 years, just to be able to shape the culture of the organization I lead, lead in an exemplary way that makes a difference, not have to worry most of the times about perceptions or some of the norms that you find in the corporate environment, hire who I want to hire, provide opportunities to people that I would like to provide opportunities to because I feel like it and I think it's the right thing to do based on what I think is right and no one else's guidelines. So there's a certain responsibility that comes with that. And so, overall, between my work and my family, that's definitely enough responsibility.
I hear you. I
Yep.
hear you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Adé, how do you want us to see you?
How do I want you to see me? Hmm. Good question. Well, here's how I'll answer that. I've been given an opportunity that perhaps not a lot of folks have an opportunity to have, regardless of background or race, whatever you want to call it. I'm highly educated, so I should be seen as someone who's responsible for contributing more to the society than what I'm taking from the society because I have more of an opportunity to contribute more, and I've had an opportunity to the fortune to be educated in such a way that I can do more than somebody who has a manual job or maybe lesser education. Not saying you can't contribute as much with lesser education, but more should be expected from me from the janitor. Because I've had more opportunity to learn more and see more and be able to contribute more. So I definitely feel like folks in my situation have a higher proportion of responsibility to the society than average because we've had more opportunity. When you own a business, you had an education, you should do more, not just for yourself, but to kind of even out the playing field. We have to give more because not everybody can give as much as we can give. So that's how I should be seen. Someone who has a responsibility for doing more than for just themselves.
Understood. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
What do they say? To whom much is given, much is expected.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would be failing if I was average.
Understood. Understood.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So, question for Adé is what is your epic dream?
My epic dream. Well, like I said, I have a 1-year-old, and that's my first child. And I just turned 49. So for a long time, I didn't know if I was going to have a family, right? But as long as I've thought about having a family, my dream has to be, and I think my contribution to this world permanently really starts at home, right? Because what I do and how I raise my son and what he does is, reflects on me and how I've raised them. And that's a contribution to the world that nobody can really take away, right? So, I mean, I think my legacy is on what I help my child or children to become and what impact they have in the world. So that continues with each generation, and as each generation goes away, their contribution is remembered less and less. But the generation that comes next is always there. If that makes sense, right? So what my lineage contributes is my legacy to some extent, right? And what they do and what impact they have, to some extent mine, but that remains to be seen. So it's very hard as an individual to make a big difference in the world, beyond your community and, folks around you. So you have to really start at home and do your best there. If you have an opportunity to do more, like if I ever became the president of the United States, sure, that's a platform that, where I can do a lot. But outside of that, like you have to concentrate on like what's immediately around you and what impact you can make with that, right? And it starts with the people you see every day and people who you teach, and raise, because that's a constant contribution that just goes on and on and on. You're pouring a lot there. So you really have to make it count, in my opinion.
No, I hear you. I hear you. Got it. Got it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. So you've been answering question 5 all along implicitly, but I'm going to ask you explicitly. Mr. Adé Lawal, who are you?
Who am I? Yeah, you're right. I think I've answered most of the question during as we've gone along. But I think specifically, when people ask where I'm from or who I am, a lot of it goes back to my roots as an immigrant. So I immigrated to this country 23 years ago. And I think that's a big divergence in my journey, like finishing high school and moving to another country. It's like a very big change in your life trajectory. I could have still been living in Nigeria, went to college there, doing something there. But that move after high school to a different country and exploring something different in a different part of the world really defines who I am. And so, I'd say I'm a Nigerian immigrant living in the United States and, working as an entrepreneur. I mean, those things kind of really shape the core of how I see myself.
I got it. Awesome. Excellent. Thank you. So here we are already at question 6, which is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't, or you wanted me to ask you that I didn't? In other words, what did I miss?
Well, it depends. What are we hoping to give folks who listen to the answers to these questions? What are we hoping for them to take away? Then I'll see if there's anything I can add that enhances that.
Sure. So it's like I said in the opening, ultimately, we really want people to have a broader vision, if you will, of what Black manhood is. That is not just the 1 or 2 stereotypes that you see in the media that are often negative. I often say what we see in the media is not necessarily incorrect. Oftentimes it is incorrect, but oftentimes it's just incomplete, right? And so what we're offering here is an opportunity for the narrative to be fleshed out a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't think there's anything else that I have to add. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I am so grateful that you are here and that you contributed today. I loved your answers. I really appreciate your answers. And I honor you, my king. I pray that your epic dream comes true. Congratulations on your young son, which is so wonderful. And I'm just really grateful that you're here today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. And stay right there because I want to thank the audience. And thank you for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation as much as I have. And if there's a positive and successful Black man in your life who you would like to hear from or see highlighted in this forum, please click the link below or in my bio, fill out the nomination form, and we'll take it from there. I often say that success to me doesn't equal what someone does for a living, as long as it's legal and it's not hurting anyone. What I'm really also interested in is those brothers who are making a positive impact on their community, starting with the nuclear family and spreading out writ large to the rest of the community. I want those brothers also to contribute to this repository. So please stay tuned next week for yet another amazing king. And in the meantime, please remember to spread love and have a great day. Thank you so much, Adé. Thank you so much. It was really wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.